Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Vidane TV, where tonight we are back with the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series at the South Boston Speedway for tonight's running of the O'Quinn Trailer 75. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle Young, here to bring you live flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's event. I will not be doing it alone, thank God. Next door to us, over in the replay booth, the lovely and sort of somewhat talented Paul Showtime Strickland Jr. And right here next to me in the announcer's booth, I've got on one side of me Tim Terry. I've got on the other side of me Mike on the Rock. I'm stuck in a Canadian sandwich here, boys.
Yeah, you are. Great to be back here with this NEPS series as qualifying is set to begin. And we're about halfway through this shift marketing series. And Mike, we saw it a couple of weeks ago. Cale Gale went to victory lane in our last stop at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Ryan Libby able to pad his point lead a little bit. But now we're at South Boston Speedway. Tight little bull ring, 25, 26 drivers. This one's going to get exciting in a hurry.
Yeah, pretty excited. You know, we got one Canadian lone soldier out there, Brent Roy in the 26 machine, but I was pretty impressed. My first call here in the NEPS series, but John Peters put on a show. Cale Gale taking the win, but it'll be interesting to see what John Peters has for us tonight, the 51 machine. Pretty excited to be here. We got about 9 minutes of qualifying time here. We're going to see some times being thrown up at the board here. Right now, Zane Farrell on top of the board with a 15:78.
Qualifying laps getting thrown up on the board as we speak. 2 laps for these drivers to rip around the South Boston Speedway to get themselves situated for tonight's 75-lap race. Not a lot of time here to do things, Tim. 75 laps on a 4/10 mile short track. This thing is going to click off in a hurry, especially if we see a lot of green flag racing. These guys putting down mid-15-second lap times. You're going to have to make sure that this qualifying session is one of your best all season long, and you got to make sure you're up on that wheel tonight. You don't have a lot of time to make things happen.
No, you do not. I just saw Evan Boyler out of the corner of my eye spin at a turn 4 on lap number 2. So his lap of a 15.68 is going to be his lap of record. And most of these guys are picking up on lap number 2, except for that guy that's on the top of the scoring pylon right now. How about Brent Roy putting in a lap?
Canada. Brent Roy on top of the board. But keep an eye on that Kenny Gibby in the 15 machine. He was stellar on that last race. So be excited to see what he has. Ryan Pasoko out there with a 15.6. He's kind of moving up the board in the top 8 position.
So it appears that the majority of the field has laid down their lap. Still waiting on a points leader, Ryan Libby, to throw his lap down. So that's a surprise. Maybe he's just kind of waiting out to see what he has to beat first in order to jump up onto the board. Pretty quick, or pretty tight group here. Looking at the times, we got Brent Roy at a 15.557, and going back down to Brendan Marhefka in 20th place. He's at a 15.8, so less than 0.3 of a second separating the top 20 cars, even the top 21 cars, actually. So this should be a very competitive race, which really is no surprise for these NEPS guys. We always see great competition out of them, and tonight should be no different.
Ryan Libby is going to come and complete lap number 1, and Kyle, he spun in turn 1 on lap number 1 of his qualifying effort. So lap number 2 is going to be the lap of record, and he gets loose again off of corner number 1 down into 3 and 4. Going to try to put a lap up on the board. The time to beat is a 15.55 by Brent Roy. Coming across line, I think he might have got it, 15.501. Ryan Libby to the top of the board after spinning on lap number 1. Talk about pressure.
Unbelievable. Ryan Libby, Kenny Gibby, they had a huge battle on the last week's race, so that's one to look for as well. Check in with Showtime Paul Strickland. Paul, what's the track conditions right now?
Taking a look right now, air temp is a nice, comfortable 65 degrees. Wind speed, there isn't really much, but it's heading north, about 2 degrees, and partly cloudy skies. Humidity and fog, there is none. Taking a look at the track temperature, a little bit warmer, 68 degrees here at South Boston on the surface, but not too crazy at the third of a mile racetrack here.
Did you just say warmer? Because you're starting to hang out with the noobs for quite a bit lately.
You know, here at Vidane TV, we're all over the country. East, west, north, south, couple of different countries, some other continents, Australia, they raced a little bit. I talk all sorts of funny now, so I don't know really what I said.
I think we'll get rid of Showtime. We'll call you Paul Mr. International.
Mr. Internet, Mr. Worldwide, I like it.
Check in with Tim here. What's going on, Tim?
Yeah, they're just going over a couple of notes in the server, getting ready to go green. We've got about 5 minutes or so before we throw this thing into high gear. And Kyle, we've seen a couple of these NEPS races. We've seen a lot of green flag running. Thompson was pretty impressive a couple of weeks ago, but 25 cars, tight little racetrack. You got some drivers that are starting near the front of the field that we haven't talked a whole lot about this season. Dale Glessner is going to start position number 3 right now, as long as everybody stays away there. Anthony Aiello, top 10 run in qualifying. Corey Casagrande, great qualifying effort to 6th. Matt Shinosky in the top 10. You know, there's some drivers that got a good qualifying effort. Can they hold it on through 75 laps?
You're absolutely right. Seeing some unfamiliar names up towards the top of the grid, and that's going to be the big thing. Anybody can learn how to throw down a fast lap and get themselves situated on a qualifying grid. Putting together a 75-lap race, that is going to be the true challenge for these drivers. And on the other side of the spectrum, some fairly larger names towards the back of the field. Zane Farrell with a bit of a struggling, I say a struggling qualifying run. He's only 2.5 tenths off the pole. He's going to start 19th tonight in that number 49 machine. Brandon Marhefka, 21st place effort with that 15.8 that I mentioned a little while ago. And Charles Lewandowski, 17th place, 15:7:45. We've seen Charles towards the front of the field in the majority of these races as well. Tim, you documented Evan Bullier's issues in qualifying. He'll start about mid-pack in position number 12. So we've got some surprises towards the front, some good, strong competitors towards the back. It should create a lot of excitement tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, it should. We want to thank O'Quinn Trailer and Motor Company for coming on board with this one and supporting the NEPS series and all they do and bringing them live here on Vidane TV. So I want to thank them for that. You can check them out on Facebook as the final couple of moments tick away here. The drivers' meeting is being conducted in the server. And I think the main thing here tonight, Mike, is going to be able to find a rhythm in 75 laps because this place can eat and spit out a race car very quickly, especially when everybody's packed up tight together. Everything happens so quickly here. There's not a whole lot of time to move.
Not a lot of room in the front stretch and back stretch, with 3 lanes here. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Like you said earlier, Kyle, 0.3 of a second between the top 22. That's incredible. I got a funny feeling we're going to see a lot of hard chargers come from the back and vying for that front. So we'll see. We're not going to see a lot of activity on pit road here tonight with the only 75 laps. This is going to tick off pretty quick, but it could be a few cautions peppered through this as it's pretty tight quarters in those front stretch.
Yeah, any action that we see on pit road tonight is probably going to be more damage repair than we'll see tire strategy or fuel strategy. Since I just mentioned that, it's worth noting that with this series, these drivers do have one fast repair. So if you do get caught up in some type of drama, you're not necessarily completely eliminated from competition tonight. You will be able to have one fast repair, which it'll depend on how these drivers treat it. Sometimes you get into these races and a fast repair in these drivers' pockets. They take advantage of it. They get aggressive. They feel like they have nothing to lose, and the crashing can become a norm. Other times, it doesn't really make much of a difference, and it's a normal short track race. Things go as planned, and we can all enjoy and sit back and have fun with it. So hopefully that is going to be the case here tonight. Looks like the race officials have concluded their drivers' meeting with the competitors. We are getting set to grid this field up 75 laps tonight at the South Boston Speedway for the O'Quinn Trailer 75. And your front row, we've already made mention about it. Car number 46, Ryan Libby. He'll start on the pole, time of a 15.501. He's also the points leader, so looking to extend that points lead here tonight. And Brent Roy, car number 26, the lone Canadian amongst this group, and of course very familiar with Mike and Tim up here in the booth. He'll start second place.
You'll be able to look back through the field on the bottom of your screen. There's a great qualifying effort for Dale Glessner, going to start in position number 3. Kenny Kibbe, involved in that point battle, third in points coming into this evening, will start in a 4th as the field continues to go on the bottom of your screen. John Peters, you're going to see his name start position number 7 here this evening, so he's got some work to do. Or second in points, chasing down Ryan Libby. Libby has been able to pad his lead a little bit the last couple of weeks, Mike, but with this racetrack, anything can happen. But he's got good track position.
It should be pretty exciting. I got a bit of an issue here with my internet. I'm going to pass that right back to you, Kyle, and I'll be with you in just a second.
Well, we hope we can get that figured out for it. It's going to be a very fun show here tonight. South Boston Speedway always produces a lot of drama. This is a very small, very narrow, short track. And Tim, I mentioned it to you during our Smashed Potatoes event a couple weeks ago, and it's a prominent factor no matter what you're running here. That inside wall really narrows up this racetrack, and it makes it difficult to avoid things. If something breaks out on these straightaways, it is very, very hard to find room to avoid it. Now in the turns, you don't have that inside wall. There's a lot of space on the apron to move around if need be, but that's not the case on the straightaways whatsoever.
Yeah, you're going to see drivers try to dive bomb in a little bit, maybe try to get that good run in to set up for the exit to the corner, and you'll see somebody make a mistake here this evening off that corner, coming off at a turn 2 or coming off at a turn 4, trying to get that run down the straightaway. And that's probably where we're going to see a couple of those incidents here as the field begins to roll off. It tightens up real quick, and if you're inside that race car, Kyle, regardless what you're running, whether you're running a single screen or triple monitors, if something happens in front of you about 4 or 5 cars ahead, it's going to be hard to avoid, especially on the straightaway.
It really will. It'll be fun to see from our perspective how these drivers handle that one. Always easy for us to say when we're in the booth and not inside the cockpit of one of these race cars. One more time around the South Boston Speedway, and we will fire these guys up for the first time tonight. Once again, 75 laps the distance, the O'Quinn trailer 75. Short, sweet, to the point here with the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series. These drivers going to have to give it their all, put it all out on the racetrack tonight and see what they can do. Short track racing on a Thursday night here on Vidane TV. 2 close races with this series after some time off. They'll race again on Monday night, but before Monday, we have to worry about tonight. The pace truck will jump down onto pit road. Ryan Libby will smash the loud pedal. Everybody behind him does the same, and the green flag is out. We are racing in the O'Quinn trailer 75 here at the South Boston Speedway. Ryan Libby will clear for the race lead over Brent Roy. Roy will fall in line for position number 2, and we are side by side for third with Dale Glessner on the bottom and Kenny Kibbe on the outside. Ryan Libby will lead lap number 1.
Kibbe able to get that run at a corner number 4 and get a little bit of a run on the 10 of Glessner. Glessner going to try to hold on to that inside line. Walks it up the racetrack a little bit there at a corner number 2, as we talked about on the pace lap. At the 15 of Kibbe going to be able to get the run. Little contact. The 10 car has to save it. Do a little bit of stick handling. The 52 of Casa Grande will move to the outside. And don't look now. Here comes the 51, the champ, John Peters, trying to make some positions up on the outside line.
Casa Grande and Glessner stay side by side coming off of turn number 4. Casa Grande with a great advantage down the front stretch. He is clear of Glessner, but he stays in that middle line, not quite deciding to jump down to the bottom yet. We'll see what he does here in 3. No, he stays in the middle. He likes that groove up there, and it looks like there's something to work there, Tim. He has cleared the 10 machine. John Peters is making progress on getting around Dale Glessner, so we might have, we got a car around the 61 machine. Brandon Newhouse, I believe, is who just spun at the top of turn number 2, all by his lonesome. The field goes on by, no caution, we stay green.
51 on the outside, able to get that spot from Glessner. Glessner stuck on the inside line. They're not usually what we see here out of a short track like South Boston, but Glessner losing a bunch of spots in that inside line, and now John Peters trying to make that inside line work. Going to go to the inside of Casa Grande, trying to make it happen. The 22 of Marhefka on the outside of the 10 of Glessner. Glessner making his season debut by the looks of it here. Looking down the point standings, this is his first race of this 2020 season, and doing a pretty good job. Great qualifying effort, but now he's still going side by side with Marhefka. That would be the battle for position number 7.
Usually at a short track like this, we're talking about drivers getting hung out of line on the top side of the racetrack, but it's the complete opposite for Dale Glessner so far here tonight. He's getting hung out on the bottom. Everybody's making moves around the top side of that channel lock number 10 machine, and he has not been able to find much momentum down there just yet. He's starting to put up a bit of tougher challenge to Devin Marhefka's number 22 machine here over the last lap or two, but so far he's on the slip through the field in the wrong direction. Marhefka just so close to clearing that 10 machine, but can't quite make it happen. John, there's contact between the two. They save it. Will that give the advantage to the 10 machine? Doesn't look like it. They're going to pick up right where they left off. Even more contact in the center of 3 and 4.
Door banging at a corner number 4, the 22 of Marhefka going to try to take that position. There's Evan Boiler as well. The Hancock Lumber Chevy has been able to rebound from his 12th place qualifying effort. Now up to 8th and about to be 7th as he tries to get by the number 10 of Glessner down the front straightaway. They go. They continue to race. Status quo up in front. Top 3 still the same as the 56 of Libby. Going to get that run off of corner number 2 and clear the 10.
So another position down for Dale Glessner. Falls back to position number 8. Now he finally has a little bit of breathing space. Nobody on that outside line. Maybe that's giving him an opportunity to learn about this racetrack. And look at that. He is just experimenting with that middle line just a little bit on entry. Came back down to the bottom side of the track on the corner exit. You're taking a look now at the 74 machine of Ryan Pasacco. He is currently running in position number 10. Just inside the top 10 there. He's got Matt Shanoski right behind him, and a whole line of hungry cars as well. There's Anthony Aiello and Dylan Kopech in positions 11 and 12. Seems like after some early battling here amongst the top competitors, everybody's starting to settle in and get a rhythm going here on this green flag run.
Yeah, this is the battle that we have on our screen. It's the closest battle within the top 10 right now. Everybody else has kind of found a place to race. The only one that's on the move really in the top 10 is Evan Boiler. He's caught up to Devin Marhefka and Corey Casagrande for position number 5. Peters has pulled away from that battle. So keep your eye on this little battle starting to form here. I think the 56 is the driver that is on the move so far. He's come up from 12th to 7th. Ryan Pasoko, as you mentioned, Kyle, is up in the top 10 after starting 11th. Couple of movers throughout the field, but I think the driver with a lot of speed here, especially in the top 10, is his 56 car.
Evan Bullier starting to make some moves early on. Started back in position number 12. He is in 7th and starting to put some pressure on Devin Marhefka for position number 6. Marhefka has been able to hang up with Corey Casagrande, hasn't been able to make a move just yet after John Peters got around that 52 machine. So this 3-car battle starting to heat up just a little bit. Bullier slipping off the back bumper of that 22 by about a car length or two here over that last lap. Marhefka doing the opposite and really starting to close in on the back bumper of Casagrande's number 52 machine. This is all for a top 5 position. Casagrande has position number 5, Marhefka is 6th, and Bullier in position number 7. And it looks like here in just a few moments' time here, Tim, Ryan Libby going to be catching up to some lapped traffic. Brandon Newhouse's machine going to be the first one that he has to deal with here in a lap or two.
And this battle for second is about to accordion back together as well. Brent Roy had about a second or so on Kenny Kibbe. They go around the 55 car to put him a lap down, but John Peters has caught the 15, and the 15 has reeled in the 26 car. John Peters, Kenny Kibbe, Ryan Libby has been the battle for the championship this season. And, you know, 1 or 2 points might not seem like a whole lot, Kyle, in the grand scheme of finishing order, but John Peters had that issue with Thompson and then fell in a couple of spots in behind Ryan Libby and Kenny Kibbe at North Wilkesboro, and right now he's behind the 2 drivers that he is within the top 3 on. Still early in this race, 23 laps being worked on the board, but John Peters has some speed. Question is, how early do you use that chrome horn to try to establish track position here?
1 or 2 points may not seem like a lot, but ask Carl Edwards how important 1 point is. He'll tell you how very important 1 point can be. And so far here in the first half of the season, it has been Ryan Libby and John Peters showing the most strength. John Peters has 3 wins on the season, Ryan Libby with 2 of his own, and as we've mentioned throughout the show thus far, he is your current points leader. So John Peters, knowing that he started on the point, knowing that John himself has a little bit of work to do to catch up to Ryan in order to keep the gap as small as he can so he doesn't lose more ground coming out of this race. Puts a lot of pressure on that 51 machine, but there's one thing that we've learned out of John Peters in our time covering these NEPS races is that he can rise to the occasion. He's not afraid to get up on the wheel and really have to drive in order to make things happen, and we're seeing that once again here tonight, starting to put a lot of pressure on that 15 machine of Kenny Kibbe. He would like to get into the podium.
I know we got a little bit of a battle here, but we see if Paul can get an onboard with the 46 of Libby as he tries to navigate this lap traffic, because they are here, there, and everywhere on this battle. He just passed Newhouse in the 61, who had that issue earlier. Got the 13 now down to the inside. You look up and you see the Sheraton-sponsored car, the number 44 of Scott McDonald, who started tail on this field this evening. He's picked up a couple of positions, but now the leader is on his back bumper. And then you got David Arute not too far ahead of him. So most of the lap traffic he's cleared, but we saw this earlier off the top of the show. We talked about it. There's not a whole lot of time to make something happen. If those 3 cars in front of Ryan Libby have an issue, he's going to have to try to make some evasive moves to avoid, because everything's going to happen so quickly here if somebody makes a mistake.
You're absolutely right, Tim. He's been perfect thus far. He's opened himself up to almost a 2.4 second lead here in the first third of this race. Lap number 30 going to click away right here. So far, we've been green through the entirety of it. And as soon as I say I'm not going to take blame for that one, because it was happening as I was saying it. So I will not take the commentator's curse for that. We have our first caution, and we may have a little tempers flaring here as Dylan Kopech, I think he just gave a swipe at Tim Shinosky and sent him back up to the outside wall. The 18 machine of Shinosky involved, the 09 of Dylan Kopech. We'll see, Paul, if anybody else was involved in that one, but got a couple cars crossed up and maybe a few fenders hurt, or a few feelings hurt as well.
Oh, that's what it's all about. Hurt fenders, hurt feelings here at Vidane TV. Taking a look right now at the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky instant replay, pulling it up onto the old blimp view here. And we'll give it to you live as we hit the correct button this time. And there you can see the 64 machine taking a look down low on the number 09 of Kopech. Michael Bennett there in the 64 machine. And you can see gets right up on him into the door, sends him around. Kopech goes around and gets T-boned there by the 18 machine here. We'll see there was a little bit of extracurricular activity. See Kopech pulling out right in front of the leader there And it looked like it was an intentional spin, but it wasn't. There's nowhere really for Kopech to put the nose to that race car. Did a good job staying in front of the leader, Ryan Libby, so he didn't lose. Actually, came down pit road, so he did lose a lap. Looks like we're actually going to have maybe 17, 18 cars here on the lead lap. The wave by probably going to go to Matt Shiniski in the 0 car.
And Kyle, looking back at that replay, trying to figure out if there was any ill will or any bad feelings that might have been there, and I think Paul just hit the nail on the head. He was trying to get back going, was Dylan Kopech, but you look at the onboard of that 18 car, I think he anticipates the 09 of Kopech to stay up top, and then he realizes he's coming down the racetrack and tries to gun it to get by, and he obviously doesn't make it. The good news, though, as you mentioned, they get a quick repair, so they can come down, get those cars repaired, and come back out onto the racetrack. But a pat on the back to these guys. South Boston, 30-plus lap green flag run. That was pretty sporty.
You're absolutely right. That is what Tim Shinoski has decided to do with that number 18 machine. He'll use that fast repair, get a fresh new UniFirst number 18 Ford Thunderbird he's got on that ride tonight. So it's unfortunate to have to use that and to get set off the pace here just a little bit, but he has a fresh car, and if he can work his way back into the free pass position, he still has some time to make use of the remainder of the race. And as you mentioned, just made the wrong prediction on trying to get through it. That's really all that you get. You get one opportunity to make the right choice to get through a crash. You usually don't have enough time to switch your decision and find a way to snake through if option one closes up on you.
We're getting ready to go back to green. Kenny Kibbe came down pit road to take tires on that race car. So who was third is now going to start back at about 12. Pace car is off. Ryan Libby is gone. Green flag flies. John Peters was able to get by Brent Roy on that last run, so he moves to second. Roy back to third, and he's battling with Corey Casagrande.
Top 2 in points, running top 2 on the racing grid right now. So John Peters has done a great job to reel in, work his way through the field, and get to Ryan Libby in the front of the field. And the caution flag is going to come out and put a quick stop on this next green flag run. It appears that the 7 machine of Kyle Casagrande is in trouble over in turn number 4. Looks like he had some help from another competitor from behind. I see a few other cars that might have gotten crossed up in it a little bit, but the driver that got the worst of that one, Paul, was the 7 of Casagrande.
Another kick-ass beef jerky instant replay here on Vidane TV. We're going to take a look and see what happened to Kyle, as definitely got caught up here. Casagrande, not Young. Young's up here. He's in the production booth with us. Kyle Casagrande behind the wheel of the number 7 machine. We're going to focus on him here for this replay. You see he's down low underneath the 55 car, gets around him no problem. Red Robin 78 in front of him. As you can see, the 13 trying to close the gap. And it looks like the 7 just backs off the throttle pretty hard. A little bit harder than the 13. The 13 gets into the back of him, and kind of a couple of dingers here back on the Coors machine of Kyle Casagrande. So that's definitely a tough break. You can see the front of that car kind of tucked the bumper in underneath the car there. So if he hasn't used his fast repair yet, definitely a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, without a doubt. So quick green flag run coming to an end here. The 78 machine, as you saw right there, going around the pace car. He will be your free pass. That's Michael Hopkins, so he'll get back on to the lead lap and should put 18 cars on the lead lap, and that is exactly what will happen. So we've now crossed over the halfway mark in this race, so the downhill slope underway. Ryan Libby has dominated this event thus far. Started on the pole. He's led every single lap up to this point. John Peters up to position number 2. He started back in 7th, has worked his way through the field very nicely. Corey Casagrande started in 6th. He's been inside the top 5 very quickly after we got the initial green flag and has stayed there. He runs 3rd. Your outside pole sitter, Brent Roy, is in 4th. And Ryan Pasoko moving his way through the field nicely. Started back in 11th and has worked his way up to position number 5.
Yeah, you look 6th through 10th. Devin Marhefka, Michael Bennett, Anthony Aiello, Zane Farrell, Wyatt Alexander. The one driver that I'm concerned about, Kyle, is Kenny Kibbe. Back in 11th, we saw Ryan Libby get tires at Thompson, was able to carve through the field. But this racetrack's a little different than Thompson. We're halfway through this race. If we get a couple of cautions here, it might not work out to Kenny Kibbe's favor, but we'll see how it plays out. He restarts 11th.
Yeah, that'll be a very fun strategy to move to watch. I was not anticipating anybody doing that tonight, but it gives us a little extra incentive on making this race interesting. Back to green we go. Good start there by Ryan Libby, not nearly as good as the previous one he had. John Peters keeping with him a little bit better. Brent Roy trying to go after Corey Casagrande to take that third position back. Roy on the top side, Casagrande down on the bottom. The two are going to come together. Brent Roy almost gets into the outside wall, stacks the whole field up behind him. Everybody's all sorts of sideways, and we got Matt Shinowski into the outside wall, and that will bring out the caution flag. Oh, the 10 machine goes around. Dale Glessner goes around, coming off of turn number 2 after the fact. So we got cars all over the racetrack in trouble right now.
Oh, that's tough, especially at the start of this field. It happened up front, and then it kind of accordioned, and all of a sudden, a couple of cars in the back decide to go around. Paul, what happened?
Well, you pretty much nailed it right on the head. All that stuff happened. You can see right now we're going to try and see if we can follow this through from the chopper view and find out what went down. We can see Corey Casagrande on the inside of the 26 of Brent Roy, and the two cars, they see John Peters kind of down low. Casagrande comes up just a little bit, and Brent Roy does a great job holding on to that race car 3 wide at this point. But then you can see the cars behind him as they're coming up to him. See the 10 car gets a little bit of a shot there from the 49 of Zane Farrell. Gets another little bit of a shot there. It's a little bit of a welcoming committee, I guess, being the first race here for the number 10 of Dale Glessner. But you can see, it looks like he was trying to come down low, not quite clear, and Zane just gives him a little bit of a shot in the corner. Doesn't really collect anybody, but there you see Dylan Kopech does a great job getting on the brakes, as does the number 12 machine there. So, great save by some of these guys in the back. Doesn't look like anybody's too tore up.
And Kyle, you mentioned Matt Shinowski went around as well. He is now being scored 1 lap down in position number 25. So tough break for Matt. Started position number 8, back to 25th now in this O'Quinn Trailer 75. And we're under caution. You have the opportunity, if you want to go check out O'Quinn Trailer, you can check them out at oquinntrailer.com in Coburn, Virginia. And I took a look at their Facebook page a little bit earlier, Kyle. Some excellent looking trailers. So if you're looking to put something behind your truck or haul something, looking to add to the fleet, Christmas is coming, a trailer would make a really great Christmas gift. So be sure to head over to oquinntrailer.com and support those that support the NEPS series, as we're still about a lap and a half away from going back to green. Ryan Libby and John Peters, your top 2. And through all that, looking back to Kenny Kibbe, he actually lost a position through all of that. Sitting back in position number 12. So he's trying to get up to the front. Probably it didn't work on that restart, but he's got another fast car behind him in Evan Boyler running in position number 13.
Field will double up here. We'll go green next time by 2/3 of the way through. Once that green flag goes back into the air, 50 laps down, 25 laps left to go. In the O'Quinn Trailer 75 here at the South Boston Speedway. Your top 2 in points will once again realign on the front row. John Peters, he's been doing a pretty good job on that outside line over these last couple of restarts. He's starting to learn a little bit, and I think we've seen that line's got some strength up there as we've seen some of the guys make some passes. But Ryan Libby right back to the dominance, a much better restart than the previous one. He'll leave the field in his dust. Devin Marhefka, how about that 22 car moving his way up to position number 3 here? He's around Corey Casagrande and looking to track down the 51 of Peters.
And Michael Bennett, great run here, up to position number 5. He's got Brent Roy on the outside, Pasoko in behind him, Aiello there as well. I'm interested to see if this thing stays green to the end, and I don't want to jinx it, but John Peters had a great run getting up to that second place battle before that first caution flag flew 30 laps into the run. We're about 25 laps or so away from the finish of this one. We'll see if John Peters has that long run mentality. He's able to reel in Ryan Libby, but right now about a half second between your top 2.
Lap 53 goes into the books. We've got a car slapping the inside wall, and around he goes. One of the top 5 cars, I believe that was. Now collecting more cars. Zane Farrell's involved. Dale Glessner, Ryan Pasoko, and there it is, Tim. We talked about the narrowness of this racetrack. Look at how many cars get collected and are stopped just waiting to try to find their way through this mess.
Field is coming up, and the track is still blocked, so they're still trying to find a way around. If you're the leader, we're counting caution laps. You're trying to get by to maybe put a couple of these cars lap down, but it's not going to happen, as the field is now back going straight. Paul, what put them sideways?
Another kick-ass beef jerky instant replay. Gonna have to make sure you write down that promo code SIM500 at kickassbeefjerky.com for 19% off. Love that stuff. I'm eating the bag of it right now, but we're going to take a look. Number 64, Michael Bennett. gets himself out of shape here. Looks like he loses a car coming off of turn number 4, hits the inside wall, loses it again on the apron. That definitely looks like a flat tire. You can see the 74 gets crossed up, the 10 involved, the 01 involved. There you see Zane Farrell in the 49, the 61, the little trees cars involved, the Red Robins cars involved. 13, everybody's blocked here on the racetrack, and definitely tough. And as you can see, we'll see if we can pull it up. There you see the leaders closing in on this this garage sale, really. It looks like everybody slows up, does a great job, and Ryan Libby doing the gentleman thing, letting everybody stay on that lead lap. Like you mentioned, Tim, that was a really good opportunity for Ryan Libby to put a whole lot of cars a lap down there, but chose to kind of woe the field up and let those guys get down with some racing.
Kyle, did he say garage sale? What are we buying at the garage sale? I'm interested in.
Race car parts.
Oh, excellent. We can build ourselves our own race car. That's awesome. And want to say hello to the boys that rent a race car. I know they're watching us here tonight, and proud sponsor of the Vidane Super Speedway Series coming up on Saturday night, back in action. And Kyle, I heard a rumor that you might be in the race for that one on Saturday. Is that still a thing?
Well, we Saturday nights have been a little weird. I've been trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to do with my Saturday nights, whether I'm going to join Paul and the boys in the booth, whether we're going to get the helmet out and strap in to a race car. I think this might be the week we actually strap into the race car, and with your event going on before it, I believe there was another invitation for that, so we might knock out 2 Super Speedway races on Saturday night this upcoming weekend.
We might have to put a bonus or a bounty if anybody can win both races. That might be a thing. We'll have to have a conversation with maybe some of those boys from Sim 500 and maybe some of those boys from TCM that want to try to win a race and maybe try to win 2. But the field is crossed up in behind the pace truck. We're gonna go one more lap to get these guys closed up at the back of the field. Had a couple of wave around cars with that parking lot that we had in turn number 2. Lights are now out atop of the pace truck. We will have a 15-lap dash to determine the winner of this. The outside line controlled by John Peters. Your leader, Ryan Libby, is going to be on the inside. Libby has controlled these restarts, but now he's going to have Devin Marhefka on the inside. This could be a very interesting restart. Could be the final restart of the night.
It very well could be. We continue to make it a little bit more wild. Just 15 laps to go this time. Ryan Libby has been money on these restarts. Much better there for John Peters, but Libby still escapes Peters' grasp. Here comes Devin Marhefka looking to the inside of that 51 machine. Wasn't quite able to get the run through the center of turns 1 and 2 to keep up, so Peters will clear. Marhefka falls back to 3rd. Corey Casagrande is in 4th. Single file through about the first 6 or 7 cars. We got Evan Bollier and Anthony Aiello side by side. Spinner in turn number 1. He saves it. What a save by the 13 machine. Great driving, and we stay green.
Back up front continues to be John Peters in 2nd, chasing down Ryan Libby. The 51 had a great start, and he hasn't been able to let Ryan Libby get away. He's still got about a car length in between himself and the leader. Marhefka having a great run back there in 3rd. Side by side, Kenny Kibbe is trying to go to the outside and try to pick up where he left off. He's got fresh tires compared to these guys in front of him, as does the 56 of Boiler as they work the outside down the back straightaway. That is a battle for 5th.
Kenny Kibbe in that 15 machine trying to make use of the fresh rubber underneath his machine. He's up to P5 using that outside groove. Corey Casagrande sees it and blocks the advance. He moves up the racetrack to try to keep the 15 back there. He'll come back down, move back up, doing all he can. Kenny Kibbe peeking to the inside here. 10 laps of racing to go. Kenny Kibbe now to the inside of Corey Casagrande for position number 4. How quickly can he get around that 52 car? Casagrande doing a great job at playing the defense, but now the O'Connor 15 ride right underneath and at the door of the 52. Evan Bollier trying to get his name into the mix as well. He's maybe even looking to go 3 wide on this one.
Yeah, took a look to the outside. That outside line going to get the run, and now the 56 of Boiler going to try to take that position away from Kibbe. Kibbe with those fresh tires as well with the 56. They know they have to go if they want to pick up any more positions here, because Casagrande may be holding up just a little bit. Top 4 beginning to drive away a little bit. The 15 still finessing that inside. Kenny Kibbe trying to take it away from Corey Casagrande side by side for 468 laps complete.
this battle just will not die. Kenny Kibbe, Corey Casagrande, great side-by-side action here in the closing laps. Evan Bollier just wants one of these guys to get out in front so he can take advantage of that lane. It doesn't really matter which one, he's just trying to move forward, and right now neither car showing too much strength over the other one. A great battle going on. Evan Bollier so anxious to try to get involved and take a spot away from somebody. He'll go to the outside line as Corey Casagrande has the slight advantage. Flagger will show him a handful. 5 laps of racing to go here at South Boston. Bollier really washing that car out wide on the entry to turn 1, trying to develop some speed. Looks like Casagrande is going to clear Kenny Kibbe, and that will put the outside all open for Bollier, but the caution flag will fly. And Tim, I believe this is going to send us to overtime to finish this one up.
I believe it will, as the yellow flag will fly, and Paul Strickland Jr. trying to take a look to see what brought out that yellow. It might have been I see the 55 is slow, but
31 car, Anthony Aiello.
So there you go, and top 10 run at one point for Aiello. So that'll bring up the caution and set us up for a dash to the finish as Paul cues up the kick-ass beef jerky replay. Paul, what happened to the 31?
Looks like hard racing as everybody's doing all the way around the racetrack here at South Boston, putting on a heck of a show, these NEPS guys are, as they always do. You can see the number 31 down low of the 26 car, and you can see it tries to come up just a little bit of a, looks like there was a little bit of help there from the 01 car. We'll back that up one more time, give it to you again. A little bit of contact between the 31 and the 26, and as those guys slowed down, the 01 really had nowhere to go, wasn't able to check up in time, gets the 31 spun around. A little bit of a tap on the inside wall there, on the pit road wall. He's going to be on the lead lap. There's still 18, almost 20 cars. It'll be 20 cars once we get the wave around for the 18 of Tim Shinuski. Check that, Michael Bennett, the wave around car. So it'll be 19 cars to restart. Heading into overtime, green-white checkered action, Kyle. We've seen this happen before with these NEPS guys on Vidane TV. Always having an exciting race, but they always have exciting finishes here as well.
You're absolutely right. We'll go green and white checkered here. Only one opportunity to do so. And Tim, I hate to say this for anybody other than Ryan Libby, but I don't see how anybody is going to dethrone Ryan Libby. With as strong as he has been on these restarts, unless that 46 car makes a mistake, I think this is setting up for a perfect night for that 46 of Libby.
I don't think you're going to do it in 2 laps. The 46 gets that jump, the 51... whether he gets a good start or is battling with Devin Marhefka for second, this is in the control of Ryan Libby. The only person I think that can beat Ryan Libby on this restart is himself. He spins the tires, he gasses it a little too soon, something happens there, but I think the only one that's going to beat Ryan Libby is the driver of the 46.
I very much agree. We're only seconds away from finding out as the field doubles up, getting ready for overtime here in the O'Quinn Trailer 75. Ryan Libby, he has led this entire race from the pole. He is your series points leader, looking for win number 3. John Peters, second in points, 3 wins on the year, trying to spoil the perfection. Let's see what happens. Peters trying to get a nose out in front. Libby will stomp on the gas pedal and go right out in front. Green flag is out for our only green-white checker attempt. Devin Marhefka trying to take over second underneath of John Peters. He can't quite do it. He'll fall in line through 3 and 4. White flag going to fly for Ryan Libby.
The battle's going to be for 4th as Casagrande, Kibbe, and the 22 of Marhefka battle for what is now 3rd. But up in front, it's all Ryan Libby. Down the back straight away for the final time. Kyle, the 51, not close enough.
He is not. It'll be a perfect night for Ryan Libby. Out of turn number 4, he will win the O'Quinn Trailer 75 here at the South Boston Speedway. His 3rd win on this New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series season here, and extending his point lead over John Peters, who finishes in position number 2. Devin Marhefka finishes 3rd. The fresh tires for Kenny Kibbe only gets him up to position 4. Corey Casagrande will complete your top 5 finishers. Evan Bollier is 6th. Wyatt Alexander, a driver we did not mention at all, but probably going to win the biggest mover of the night award, up 16 positions. Started back in 23rd. He finishes in 7th tonight. Brent Roy falls back and finishes in 8th. 9th place finisher is Ryan Pasoko, and Charles Lewandowski will complete your top 10.
Yeah, the second page of drivers here, Brandon Uhouse in the 61 had a tough night. He was involved in a lot of incidents, still comes home 11th. Dale Glessner in his series debut for the season finishes 12th. Kyle Casagrande, David Arute, Zane Farrell, Anthony Aiello involved in that last caution, 16th. Matt Kenfield in 17th. Dylan Kopak, last driver on the lead lap in 18th. Michael Bennett 1 lap down. and Michael Hopkins, 1 lap down in the 78.
The rest of the field looks like this. We got a couple Shinoskis there. Shinosky, I believe it is. Matt Shinosky, 21st. Tim Shinosky, 22nd. Brandon Marhefka in 23rd. Jeffrey Brown in 24th. And scratch on the field tonight in car number 44. 25th place is the 44 car of Scott McDonald. So there we have it, Tim. The Oak Quinn Trailer 75 is in the books. We saw a lot of green flag racing to start this one. Lots of action in the second half, but overall, it was a completely perfect night for our race winner. Ryan Libby leads all 75 laps, and we've got him here in victory lane now. Ryan, you made it look so easy tonight. Was it as easy inside the car as it was from the booth?
Definitely not. Tonight was, if you pitted and no one else really pitted, you're going to be stuck in the back. It was hard to pass. The track's really narrow. You could get out front, with me having the pole, you can't just run away with it and eat your tires up, because if you eat your tires up and everyone pits, then you're still a sitting duck. So it may have looked easy on the broadcast, but it really wasn't easy. Plus with the 51 there with John Peters there, it's never easy trying to stay in front of him either. So
Ryan, we saw how strong you were on these restarts tonight. You really didn't let anybody have any kind of an opportunity to get you once the field was all bunched up. Was that something that you've worked on throughout the week that you knew was going to be important coming in, or was it just something that you just kind of aced as it happened?
Well, here I know we were given the choice to go after that white line, and I knew that there's quite a bit of gap from that white line to when they throw the green from the first initial start. So I figured, not to play games, but you could kind of move your restart zone every single time you do a restart, so you could always have them guessing. So they really never know when you're going to fire, unless they say go on green every time. Then everyone knows, hey, you go on green. So, but yeah, it's sometimes you just kind of, especially with Peters and with Kenny Kibbe up there and Corey Casagrande around there, you always have to keep the guys guessing on the restarts to stay out front.
Seems like we're developing a Ryan Libby, John Peters battle for the championship here. Things are still pretty tight throughout the majority of the points towards the top of the point standings, but you now equal John Peters with 3 wins apiece for each of you guys. Knowing that he's the defending series champion and got to 3 wins before you did, how important is it to keep that 51 in your rearview mirror for the rest of the season?
Definitely, that's definitely what I want to do. But I got some tracks coming up, and I got a big question mark on them. There's a few there. I'm scratching my head. The road courses, definitely. In real life, I'm really good at them, but on here, for some reason, I'm just missing something. So the road course days, and there's a few other tracks there, the intermediate stuff, where I'm really not that good at it. So, a top 10, a top 5 would be good. If we could keep Peters behind us and Kenny Kibbe, even better. But, sometimes certain drivers are better at certain tracks. So that's the plan now.
Well, as mentioned, Ryan, win number 3. You made it look very easy tonight. And while there are some things that need to be worked on for the future, you didn't have anything to work on tonight. You got to victory lane. Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank Phillips 66, O'Quinn Trailer Sales for putting this on. NEP Shift, of course, my 2 teammates, Michael Bennett and Ryan Pisacco for Team Connecticut. Also like to thank Vidane Broadcast. Like I said, anytime you guys are broadcasting something, if I see it broadcast, I usually pop in and see what's going on. So thank you for that also.
Always great to hear the love coming back our way a little bit. Ryan Libby, tonight's winner of the Oak Quinn Trailer 75 at the South Boston Speedway, win number 3 on the season, and the Plainville, Connecticut driver will extend his points lead tonight over this man who Tim is about to talk to right now, second place finisher John Peters.
Yeah, the car that was rolling on the long run, John Peters comes home in second. John, how difficult were those restarts at the end with only 3 or 4 laps to really work?
Yeah, you nailed it, Tim. Restarts were really tough when you're not the control car. It seems like these cars just don't take off well. So if you can get going a split second earlier than the guy beside you, you're going to end up with a big gap. And that's kind of how that played out. I did get one pretty decent restart, and the race director yelled at me. So I had to be a little bit more careful. and just make sure that I wasn't doing anything I wasn't supposed to do. But Ryan did a great job on the restarts, getting that gap. And it would take a couple laps. I really started to reel him back in and made progress earlier, like you said, in the long run. So I think that's what I needed tonight, but that's okay. We'll take second. I kind of put myself in a hole with qualifying. So I'll take second. Ryan's done a real good job. It's good to finish second to him.
You mentioned the qualifying effort, trying to dig in those first 30 laps. The outside line seemed to be the place to be, but how difficult was it to make those passes? Because we saw some pretty good moves out of this 51 car early.
Remember back from the last race we did here last season, the outside line really became the place to be. And seems to be the case with some other cars on here when we come to South Boston. So as soon as I got a hole on the top early on in the race, I just went right up there and started passing guys and seemed to make that work. And I tried to play around just as a single car to see if it had any speed. It ended up coming back to the bottom. But certainly when you would get around a guy, you could really set them up with a run and then peek to the outside and get some real good momentum. That seemed to work out pretty well. I think that's part of what makes the racing at South Boston here so fun to watch, is that we actually have two grooves to run with. So it's fun.
So we're getting closer to the halfway point in this season. Is this the time where you really start to think points heading towards the Christmas break?
Yeah, definitely. I'm keeping an eye on it just to see how things shake out. Ryan's been really, really consistent. That's the hard part with him. If he's not grabbing one of his 3 wins, he's finishing second or third. And I've had a couple weeks where I haven't done that, finished back in 7th or 8th, and just had some off weeks. So I got to try to eliminate those, be a little bit more consistent like he is. But looking ahead, there's some tracks that I'm pretty excited about. We go to the road course at Watkins Glen on Monday. It's probably one of my best tracks. And then Charlotte is also next week, and that'll be interesting because we haven't gone there before. So I'm pretty optimistic with what's ahead, but got to keep that 46 in my sights and try to be as consistent as him. It's not easy.
And especially with a road course win in your pocket earlier in this season, you have to be looking forward to a couple of days' time when we do go to Watkins Glen. As you mentioned, it might be that time to make up points. Who's on the side of this race car? Who makes it happen for this 51 team?
Thanks to Runtle North America, Digby's Variety, 4 Season Synthetic, Turn 4 Automotive and Performance, Libby Septic. Thanks to Vidane for putting this on. I love the full broadcast booth we got here tonight. You guys do a great job. Thanks to Shift Marketing and Design, O'Quinn Trailers for putting the race on. Thanks to my parents for watching at home. Shout out to my dad. Thanks to my girlfriend and my dog for watching, and everyone else who's watching tonight. Appreciate it.
There's John Peters finishing position number 2 here this evening, Kyle, and another guy with a great run this evening. Started 5th, podium finish for Devin Marhefka. You caught up with him.
That I have. Devin Marhefka, third place finisher tonight. Devin, a great run for you. You stayed inside the top 5 all night long. Lots of good battling, and you come home third. What's the reaction out of you?
Yeah, well, I ran really well here last year. I was leading most of the race, and then I put it into the wall, and I took out Peters and myself. So it was nice to come back here and actually run pretty well. The car was getting a little tight, so the top groove was working. If you could restart on the outside, you really had a good shot of at least getting picking up one spot. So that's just kind of what I did.
You were in the heart of a lot of battles tonight, and the track was, honestly, it was more versatile than what I thought it was going to be with that outside line. What was it like from inside the car being able to move around on a short track like this?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. This is one of the few tracks on the service I think you can really get your elbows out and run side by side for a number of laps. And I mean, I ran side by side with a couple guys for it. Well, it felt like half the race. I'm sure it wasn't, but it felt like it was quite a long time. And like I said, with the car being so tight, you couldn't get it to stick in the center of the corner. So if you could roll that outside well, you were able to get that guy on the inside more often than not.
Starting to turn the heat up here a little bit with this series schedule before we take some time off for the holidays. We ran tonight. We'll run again on Monday night at Watkins Glen, and then we go to Charlotte next Thursday night before we take that time off to celebrate the holidays with all of our friends and family. What's this stretch of racing like for you? We got a lot of races in a short period of time and a lot of different variety of tracks as well. A short track tonight, a road course, and then an intermediate.
Yeah, well, the left-hand turns I'm pretty good at, but like most guys in here, the right-hand turns I'm not looking forward to too much. So it stinks that it's on Monday because, I mean, I remember the last road course, we had 2 or 3 practice sessions before that, and I don't even know if we're going to have one before Monday. So, yeah, that should be interesting.
A great run for you tonight, very competitive all the way through. Third place effort, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank my parents, everybody that helps on our actual race cars. My uncle Scott, Bobby, anyone that ever comes down the shop and helps us. I'd like to thank Memorial Highway Chevrolet, the Clarks, and Allied Milk as well.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Third place finisher tonight, Devin Marhefka. A very solid run for that number 22 car and the driver out of Windber, Pennsylvania. Tim, we saw another great race out of these NEP guys tonight. A near caution-free first half. Then we got a little bit of trials and some tribulations through the second half, but it set us up for a great white checker finish. And in the end, it was a flawless night out of Ryan Libby, and he grabs win number 3 on the year.
And it sets us up for a nice little sprint here in the next couple of weeks. As Mr. Peters mentioned, we're going to go to Watkins Glen, and then we're going to go to, I believe, Charlotte before we flip the calendar for the next season. So we've got some racing to accomplish here in the next little while with these NEPS guys. And I think that second half of the season, you just look at that schedule. We'll cross halfway after Watkins Glen, but you look at Charlotte, you look at Twin Ring Motegi, Sonoma's coming up, Auto Club's coming up. Then you got some bull rings like Oxford and Myrtle Beach and Irwindale. And I like the diversity of this schedule because we're going to go to all kinds of different racetracks here because we've been on these bull rings for the last couple of weeks, Kyle, and it might be time to let these guys loose and see what they can do with these ARCA National cars and some of the bigger racetracks.
Without a doubt, it's one of my favorite things about this series, too, is that you get a lot of versatility. You get short tracks, bigger tracks, some road courses, and all the tracks on the schedule, they each have their own different character to them. It's not like they're going to a bunch of racetracks that have similar characteristics. There's a lot of differences in this schedule and really brings out all sorts of talents and the best in each and every one of these drivers. So that's just about going to do it for us tonight, Paul. We've got a pretty jam-packed weekend coming up on Saturday night, a couple super speedway races, and then we're right back at it with these guys on Monday night to kick off next week.
Yes, sir. We're taking tomorrow night, hanging out at the Angry Tree Guy Bar with the boys tomorrow night, have a couple of cold wobbly pops and a nice low-carb dinner because, well, I'm tired of being chunky. So we're working on that, trying to get back into fighting shape for the 2021 racing season. Got a couple of races that I've got to do over there at Stafford Motor Speedway, and we've also got the Vidane Racing Night where we're going to have not one but two Vidane Racing Series champions race in a street stock race at Stafford Motor Speedway, brought to you very graciously by our friends over at Rent a Race Car. They rent out the street stocks at Stafford Motor Speedway every single Friday night, and been honored to really be hanging out and working with those guys and befriend those guys for 5 or 6 years now, probably even longer than that. And they've been involved with the sim racing of Showtime Strickland Jr. For the entire run here. But taking a quick look, the upcoming schedule, you made mention already, doubleheader this Saturday night. And Tim, you got the Super Speedway special event right before the Sim 500 Vidane Racing Super Speedway Series, and you made mention we might have to do some kind of offer up the winner of the first race, maybe get an entry into the second race, and if they can win two, get a couple of T-shirts, a sweatshirt, maybe some money, cash. I don't know. We'll have to see. Sounds like a sponsorship advertising opportunity to me. So if you want to get on board with that, be sure to jump in our DMs over there on Facebook, and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. But after that, you guys already made allude to Monday night, we're going to be running with NEPS. We may have the East Coast Winter League race Sunday night, still pending sponsorship for that race. Be sure to check on the Facebook for that, and also check out the website. Back to Tim's Corner Weekly, the Oxford Plains Series. That's going to be Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And that race as well, still looking for sponsorship. So check out timscorner.ca, iRacing at timscorner.ca for any sponsorship opportunities. Tim's definitely got a way to do it and always puts on a great show, just like you saw here tonight with the NEPS guys. And then December 18th, doing something a little bit different. I believe we're at Irwindale for the Insanity 200 for Crash for Cash, Kyle Young's promotion, putting that up. Still couple of spots still open for that. Entry fee can get taken care of. Check them out on Facebook for the Crash for Cash promotions. Irwindale Insanity 200. So that's going to be very exciting on that Friday night. And the last thing we've got there on the schedule for the year, the New Year's Bash here on Vidane TV. I put a start time for 8 o'clock. I don't know what time this guy's going to start drinking, probably as soon as we get out of work, but we'll take a look at that. We got some exciting stuff planned. I know the NEPS guys here, we're talking about wanting to do maybe a figure 8 race. Very well may have a Crash for Cash enduro race. We got some wrestling stuff planned, UFC fighting, a little bit of Madden football, and obviously some iRacing as well. I know Tim was considering working on a little event there as well. So be sure to check out the Facebook page. Trying to get some live music down here for the Angry Tree Guy bar for an Angry Tree Guy a bar session as we're trying to get introduced here on Vidane TV, but lots of cool stuff coming up for the end of the year, and we're not really taking a break. Going to roll right into the 2021 iRacing season. We got the new build here with iRacing, lots of updates, lots of new tracks, lots of new cars, a lot more dirt racing, couple of jump tracks, some pretty cool stuff coming up here in iRacing and on Vidane TV. But that's going to do it here for us. Thank you so much from the NEPS series, New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group, everybody here at Tim's Corner, everybody here at Vidane TV, Tim's Corner Motorsports, Kyle Young, Tim Terry, and Mike on the Rock was here for a little bit. I think he's still hanging out at the bar over there trying to get him a cold beer. I may very well join him as well. But we'll catch you guys on the flip side. We're going to do a doubleheader Saturday night with Tim's Corner Motorsports and the Sims 500 Vidane Racing Super Speedway Series. Cannot wait. We'll see you there.